Two people were shot at a public transit station in San Francisco. One died, the other was hurt.
The San Francisco Police Department responded to a shooting at the Muni Forest Hill station at around 9:56 a.m. on Wednesday. They released a photo of a person of interest, asking the person to come forward for interrogation. A 70-year-old male was transported to Zuckerberg San Francisco General Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The second victim, a 27-year-old male, was pronounced dead at the scene. No arrests have been made, and the investigation is ongoing.
A California man who attempted to murder a Supreme Court justice appeared in a Maryland federal court on Wednesday. He is accused of planning to assassinate Justice Brett Kavanaugh right outside his home.
Californian Nicholas Rosk of Simi Valley pleaded not guilty of attempted murder in a Maryland federal court on Wednesday. Rosk had told investigators that he was upset over the leaked Supreme Court opinion that aims to overturn Roe v. Wade. He also stated he was upset about the Uvalde, Texas shooting. He is accused of traveling across the country with plans to kill United States Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Court documents state he was planning on taking his own life after the assassination. According to police, he had a shotgun, ammunition, zip ties, and tactical gear in his possession. His trial is scheduled for August 23rd, and he faces up to life in prison if convicted. Rosk will remain in jail until his trial. Daniel Hall, NTD News, California.
While some parts of California can't get enough of their taxes, one Southern California city is hoping to get rid of theirs. The only issue is they are facing bankruptcy without it. With the midterm elections approaching, city officials are considering renewing their 1% city sales tax.
Westminster in Orange County is facing an impending budget deficit of over $17 million. City councilors are now faced with the question of whether to renew the city's 1% sales tax. Officials say the sales tax will bring in between $12 to $15 million a year. For the city to renew the tax, at least 4 out of the 5 councilors must vote yes on the proposal. That would place it on the November ballot for residents to vote on. But there's a split on what to do. Vice Mayor Carlos Manzo and Councilwoman Kimberly Ho are currently the only two in support of the proposal. That's because a city's sales tax is one of its financial sources. Those funds are needed for maintaining both public and protective services, as well as local development. But Mayor Tri Ta believes renewing the sales tax is unnecessary. He says the city should incentivize more businesses to set up shop in town, and no sales tax encourages that. However, Manzo says revenue from the sales tax would at least sustain the city's basic services like policing or trash collection. Current budget cuts have already led to a 33% staff reduction in the city's police force. Officials say that without this revenue, the city could eventually be forced to file for bankruptcy by 2024.
The executive director of a California nonprofit was attacked on Twitter for her comment on the state's recent reparations report for African Americans. NTD's Cynthia Kai spoke with her to hear more about the situation.
Wen-Yuan Wu, executive director of Californians for Equal Rights Foundation, was recently attacked on Twitter for questioning the California Reparations Task Force. When your Twitter account was flooded with those comments, how did you feel and what was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction was kind of shock. I was baffled that something that I commented on as a public policy analyst, as someone who closely follows policy developments in the public sphere in California, would receive not on account of my arguments or the merits of my arguments, but on account of my race and ethnicity.
Wu says the comments came after an interview she did with NBC San Diego.
I represented my organization in that interview with NBC San Diego, in which I criticized the report, not the scheme of reparations categorically. So I questioned the methodological and substantive errors of the report.
California's task force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans released an interim report on June 1st. The report documents the lingering effects of slavery on African Americans today. Wu expressed concern over whether the report's policy proposals would violate the state constitution's ban on racial preferences and Proposition 209, also known as the Affirmative Action Initiative.
About a week later, I started receiving a lot of private messages on my Twitter account, and also a group of people started to follow me and comment on all my posts on Twitter. About 2 days later, these comments bled into my Facebook.
Twitter users don't use their real names when leaving what she called profane and racially charged comments. Wu said she reported some of these comments to Twitter.
But Twitter did an investigation, I suppose, and concluded that these posts did not violate their rules.
Twitter did not respond to NTD's request for comment. Wu also criticized the California Reparations Task Force's nearly 500-page report in a recent article she wrote for Minding the Campus titled Reparations or Ransom. She disagrees with the report's sweeping policy recommendations. These include zero-interest home loans, free college tuition, free healthcare, monetary compensation, among others. Wu says there's a fine line between freedom of expression and freedom of lies and smears.
The former one, which is fundamental to free speech, is the freedom to say what's on my mind based upon facts, based upon analysis, based upon a willingness to talk to the other side, to take on difficult topics.
Her recent advocacy has focused on combating critical race theory in American public life. She writes for Minding the Campus of the National Association of Scholars and sits on the board of Parents Defending Education Action.
If you're planning to head to a California beach this summer, you may want to check out an annual report card before catching some rays. The environmental nonprofit announced its 2021 to 2022 beach report card at a press conference on a beach in Santa Monica.
Nonprofit Heal the Bay revealed its report card for California beach cleanliness in Santa Monica on Wednesday. 51 of the 500 monitored beaches made the report's honor roll, and they're all in Southern California. Most of the beaches are in Orange County and San Diego. The standard was for being clean during all seasons and weather conditions. On the other hand, 10 beaches with the lowest dry summer grades were listed as beach bummers. The organization monitored and graded 500-plus beaches last year. The grades were given based on bacterial pollution. The good news is 94% of the beaches got an A or B for the summer months from April to October. The percentage dropped to 88% during the winter months. According to Heal the Bay, less rainfall during the wet weather months last year may have contributed to cleaner water along the coast. Less rainfall means less pollutants were being washed into the ocean through storm drains, rivers, and streams. The report also cited a large amount of sewage being dumped into certain coastal beaches, such as through the Tijuana River.